Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to talk about something big, something serious, and something that is quietly changing the balance of global power. Europe, a region once known for peace, diplomacy, and economic cooperation, is now rapidly rebuilding its military like never before. Many experts are asking the same question: is Europe preparing for a future war? Or is this just a defensive awakening after years of ignoring military power? In this long and detailed video, we will explore the truth behind Europe's military rise, the reasons driving this sudden shift, and how this transformation may shape the future of global security. For decades, Europe believed that war on its soil was history. After the Cold War, countries across Europe reduced their armies, shut down military bases, cut defense budgets, and relied heavily on diplomacy and international agreements for peace. Peace became normal. Military power became secondary. Most Europeans grew up believing that wars happen in faraway regions, not in Europe. But reality changed very quickly, and Europe realized that peace cannot be taken for granted. The Russia-Ukraine conflict changed everything. It was a shock, a loud wake-up call that shook every European government. Europe watched a full-scale invasion happening within the continent, and suddenly every leader understood how vulnerable Europe had become. The idea that war is impossible in Europe was destroyed overnight. Many nations realized they were unprepared. Their armies were outdated, their budgets were too low, and their weapons systems were not enough for modern threats. This fear triggered the biggest military transformation Europe has seen since World War II. Countries that avoided military spending for decades are now investing billions. Nations that once trusted diplomacy alone are now building new alliances, ordering new weapons, and rebuilding entire armies from the ground up. Europe understood that peace requires strength, and strength requires preparation. Another major push came from NATO. For years, NATO asked its members to spend at least 2% of their GDP on defense. But most European countries ignored this target. They believed the world was safe enough. After 2022, that changed instantly. NATO demanded real commitment, and today more than 20 European countries have reached or exceeded the 2% defense spending mark. This is a massive shift. Billions of extra dollars are now flowing into modernization programs, missile systems, air defense networks, drones, tanks, and cybersecurity. And Europe isn't just spending money. Europe is changing its mindset. A continent that once avoided military discussions is now deeply focused on strategy, protection, and preparedness. A continent that once relied on others is now taking responsibility for its own defense. Europe's military rise is not just about weapons. It's about awareness, a new awareness of how fragile peace can be. Let's talk about the countries leading this transformation. Germany is one of the biggest examples. For decades, Germany kept its military small, limited, and politically controlled because of its historical past. But today, Germany has declared a major turnaround. It announced a historic €100 billion defense fund to modernize its entire military. Germany is buying F-35 stealth fighters, upgrading its tank divisions, strengthening its air defense systems, and investing in cyber capabilities. This is not a small change. This is a strategic shift after decades of hesitation. Next is Poland. Poland is becoming one of the most rapidly expanding military powers in Europe. Its goal is clear. Poland wants the strongest land army in the region. They are buying advanced tanks from the United States and South Korea, ordering new aircraft, increasing troop numbers, and building new weapon production facilities. Poland's military growth is shocking analysts worldwide. Poland sees itself as the frontline shield of Europe, and it is preparing at full speed. France is also strengthening its already powerful military. France has nuclear weapons, advanced fighter jets, and a strong navy. But even then, France is upgrading nearly everything. The Rafale jets are being modernized, the nuclear program is being improved, and France is heavily investing in new generation military technologies. France wants to maintain leadership and remain one of the strongest forces in Europe. The United Kingdom is another major player. Even after leaving the European Union, the UK continues to play a global military role. The UK is heavily investing in aircraft carriers, advanced submarines, cyber units, and F-35 fighters. The British military strategy focuses heavily on technology, mobility, and intelligence-based warfare. The UK wants to ensure it remains a top-tier military power with worldwide capabilities. The Nordic region is rising too. Finland recently joined NATO and brought with it one of the strongest artillery systems in Europe. Finland has a huge reserve force and a serious defense culture. Sweden, after years of neutrality, is now increasing defense spending and rebuilding its military industries. Norway is improving Arctic defense systems, and Denmark is modernizing its navy. These countries together form a powerful northern shield for Europe, something that did not exist before. While these national upgrades are important, Europe's unity is even more significant. For the first time in decades, European nations are working together to build joint weapons, joint defense systems, joint drone programs, and joint fighter jets. Europe is also building integrated radar systems, shared intelligence networks, and advanced missile defense shields to protect the entire continent. Unity is multiplying Europe's power. Now let's look at technology, which is the heart of modern warfare. Modern war is dominated by drones, satellites, artificial intelligence, cyber warfare, and hypersonic missiles. Europe is investing heavily in all these areas. The European Union is funding next-generation drone programs. Germany, France, and Spain are developing one of the world's most advanced fighter jet systems called FCAS. The UK, Italy, and Japan are building another next-generation stealth jet under the Tempest program. Europe is also creating cyber defense centers, upgrading surveillance satellites, and building advanced missile shields to protect major cities. Europe is not preparing for old-style wars. Europe is preparing for future wars that involve information, precision, and speed. Wars that depend on AI, drones, and real-time intelligence. Europe wants to be ready for any threat, no matter how advanced. But this brings us to a big question. Is Europe preparing for a future war? The answer is not simple. Europe does not want war. Europe wants peace. But Europe has learned a painful lesson. Being weak is dangerous. When you are weak, threats rise. When you are weak, enemies feel confident. When you are weak, peace becomes fragile. So Europe is not preparing to start a war. Europe is preparing to prevent one. A strong Europe makes attacks less likely. A united Europe makes threats less dangerous. A technologically advanced Europe makes rivals think twice. Strength can create stability, but there is also the other side. Some analysts warn that massive military buildup can increase global tensions. They fear a new arms race. They fear that Europe's rise might push other powers to respond aggressively. They fear that too much military preparation can create a sense of fear across borders. But many analysts believe the opposite. They argue that a strong Europe will stabilize global power. A strong Europe will support NATO, balance Russia, and create equilibrium in the region. A strong Europe means protection for smaller nations. A strong Europe means less pressure on the United States. According to this view, Europe's military rise is necessary for long-term peace. The truth is somewhere in between. Europe is rising, and this rise will definitely reshape global geopolitics. Europe is entering a new era of responsibility. For years, Europe relied on diplomacy. Now Europe relies on strength. For years, Europe depended on others for protection. Now Europe wants to stand on its own. For years, Europe saw its military as secondary. Now Europe sees it as essential. This transformation is permanent. This is not temporary panic. This is a long-term shift that will shape the next decade. Europe's decisions today will define the future security of the continent. The world is watching closely. Will Europe's military rise lead to stability, or will it lead to rivalry? Will Europe's strength prevent conflicts, or will it create new tensions? Only time will tell. But one thing is clear: Europe is rising faster than predicted, stronger than expected, more united than ever. Thank you for watching. Tell me in the comments, do you think Europe's military rise is necessary for global stability? Or do you believe it signals a dangerous future? Stay informed, stay aware, and I will see you in the next video.